Why hello everybody. Today we'll be doing something a bit different. Today we'll be doing a book review. Now today's book will be the Legend of Sigmar, of the Time of Legends series from Black Library Publishing, which is the publishing arm of Games Workshop's Fantasy World and Science Fiction World. And this one is actually a compilation set of the first three books in the Legend of Sigmar, Heldenhammer, Empire, and God King. It's really thick, really big book. It's over 1,000 pages, and to just give it up right now, it's definitely a good read. Now, it's written by, of course, the best-selling author Graham McNeil, who also, I must add, wrote my favorite book, one of my favorite books in quite a while, which is Fulgrim. In fact, I will rate Fulgrim even above this book. And it was from the Horus Heresy series in Warhammer 40k. And just like Horus Heresy has 40k has the Horus Heresy, in the Warhammer Fantasy World you have Time of Legends, and they will have Sigmar and Nagash and all these big heroes that basically form the history of the worlds, those fantasy and science fiction worlds. Now, the general subject matter for this book, of course, is about the most iconic character of the Warhammer world. I mean, literally, he formed the most powerful united human empire, and he is holding in the titular Warhammer of the Warhammer world, Gelmaraz, or Skull Splitter. So that's the general story of this series. And there's a first start off on the good things is this map they give. Now, if you're basically a Warhammer fan, I've been a fan since 1995. You basically can tell if someone give you like West Lusteria, you know it's to the west of Utuan across the sea. So I've seen a lot of Warhammer maps and they don't really surprise me. But this map here, now this one is something new because it's during the time of like so-called prehistory, where you have the world as like when Caesar invaded the Celts and all. Each of the lands is actually, they just put the capitals and they're named actually after the tribes rather than like Midland and all that in the later part of the empire history. And not only that, when you actually read the book and you go back, this map is great because it's not cluttered. Like, look at it. Let's say, I remember they said that from Rakedorf to Tree Hills, I think it's about a week. So actually you get a sense of scale, and that's one person traveling. It took that long. So imagine an army, how long it would take. So this map is just enough. It gives you a sense of scale of the world, and I think this really added, for me at least, a huge ton to my imagination of the world, because I could literally picture all of this. I mean, like I say, some books they try to clutter it too much or give too little. This one, I must say, just right. I love this map, and it's a new shiny thing for Warhammer fans too, because we don't get to see this map too often. So that's one of the good things about this book. And the other thing, of course, is Graham McNeil. The author is very good at concentrating on characters. I feel that's his strong suit. Like with Fulgrim, he basically is able to really get into the mind of the character, and he just be able to bring out the growth of the character. In fact, one of the great praises of this book is that most people who read it, other reviews, they tend to agree that you see literally Sigmar progressing as a person. He's not just the godly hero character that stays stagnant as a hero. He actually gets a bit more sullen and weighted shoulders, as you say. Now, of course, the book is about basically, for you, the goal of the book was to let you know about Sigmar and how he formed the empire. And with that goal, I must say it succeeded very well. In fact, one of the strong points of it is that Heldenhammer especially, they concentrated on how he basically got each of the tribes together, and it's very almost not as good, but I would say very much Game of Thrones-ish, where it's not just fighting. There's not the kind of backstabbing and all that you would expect from Game of Thrones, but definitely there's a lot of politics, like infighting and how does he handle that. And I must say Heldenhammer was my favorite. If I had to choose one book to read out of the three, Heldenhammer was it. Alright, and okay, so well, we've been going on the good, so let's continue with that. And also, if you're a Warhammer fan, there's no doubt you need to read this, because literally as if you go back on Games Workshop history, the world was built around the Empire and the Orcs, and then basically the Empire was always the world they fought in when it was created. So literally, this is where it started, it expanded, and Sigmar is his hero. So for Warhammer fans, this just brings you more into the mythos, and it's for fans of the game, it will help you so much in creating new campaigns and characters, because most of the worlds are concentrated around the main island, the mainland of the Empire. And also, in recent years, I think this is a trend since more Game of Thrones ever since, is that the politics is more realistic. It's not just like, oh, he's Sigmar, he's the great emperor, so we listen to him. There's actually a lot of infighting in there, which also makes it a better read than. Nowadays, looking back, Lord of the Rings, does it hold up? To many it does, but to me nowadays, I would prefer reading something more realistic rather than Aragorn taking over. Not taking over, but uniting the worlds of men and everything is hunky dory. And in this one, if you remember from Warhammer history, basically they always portrayed Sigmar as a god, and here I like how they actually portrayed him as a man, and it's more realistic, and also it grounds the Empire, how you say, their personality. Because if you ever played the miniature game, you know that the Empire is all about big chunks of men, and literally they have to work together, and that is really stressed, like how the world of men, if they don't stand together, they fall apart. And like I said, basically also you get to see how the power responsibility really weighs on it. By the end of God King, you really can see how he has given up everything to a certain extent for the Empire, and he keeps working towards the goal. Where once he was a youthful man who just thought, to say the least, that uniting the Empire will be cool, to the point where he's like the whole weight of the world is literally on his shoulders. Every death is his, and it really brings forth the idea that how he keeps repeating to himself that man must unite to beat the bigger horrors around them. Because it's also good how the book references the world of Warhammer, that every other race is better than humans in some way, but the reason why humans are the most powerful empire is because they stand together. So in that, it achieves all its goals. But that does not mean that there's nothing flawed with the book. Now, just to preface, I must say that I like the book, I really do, but it won't be right if I don't give what I also felt when I read the book as its flaws. The part that's a flaw is, of course, Graham McNeil. I feel is he doesn't write bad battles, but he tends to be pretty stagnant. Whereas the character of Sigmar progressed so well, the battles all read the same. It's basically constant. Like, he ducked under the hammer, and then he slashed his sword here, and the armor split, and that was pretty constant. And also, when he does battles, it's very Deus ex machina. Like, literally, like, he out of the blue, they said like the king's cavalry would charge forward, and there's no bigger picture of the battle most of the time. It's most of the time like this group is here, and that's the roughest idea. There's not much. If you're looking for battle tactics, you won't get it here. And of course, like I said, they portrayed Sigmar as a man, and sometimes I must say that they do give him those superhero moments that take away from him being a man. Like, this is not a spoiler because they reveal it quite fast. Like, at one point he actually climbs a mountain barehanded with just Galmaraz, his warhammer, tied to his loincloth, And that to me is like, and this is not a small mountain, you know. I mean, you read it and and like I said, it just takes away from the fact that he's a man, you know. Like, you build it up so much that he's a man blessed by the gods, but still, you know, I feel that those moments are out of place. And yeah, those are the things that really sometimes take away, like, as the book goes further, um those flaws actually start to really manifest, like in God King. I feel like, because what happens in God King, and this is, again, you know, basically they have a lot more small battles, and like I said, it's just like small battle, small battle, small battle, small battle, and you just, for me, I wanted to read more of like the infighting between the humans and the personalities. And like I say, to me, Graham McNeil is a bit stagnant with his battle, so to me it's like I'm reading the same thing over and over, just hoping to get the politics part. Now that does not mean God King was bad. I actually enjoyed it, although out of the three I would say God King is the least interesting. But you know, I have to point it out that the God King, the battle part, a bit tiring by the end. Minus the main battles, of course, but I mean all the small battles that they had along the periphery and all. So, in conclusion, I definitely can recommend this book. I know I had to give the bad parts of it, but overall, I don't regret buying this. When I bought this in April 2013, this was like Singapore dollars, $30. So probably in the US or Canada and all, you find it far cheaper. And as a bonus, actually, there's no way not to spoil this. If you can find this Inferno issue 2, you would actually, and again, I've been racking my brain, there's no way I cannot spoil this for you. It won't spoil anything here, by the way, but it will spoil what's in here, actually. There's actually a prequel to Sigmar in this book, and it's called, by Gav Trop, Birth of a Legend. Alright, it's basically when he saves the Dwarf King Kurgan, and how he literally gets the Warhammer. And throughout that story, if you didn't know and you read it, and you were a Warhammer fan, I'm not seen a person, including myself, who did not read it and get literally a shiver down your spine. So literally, actually, you can just add on that story to the front. You know, if you're truly a fan, you gotta read first the Gav Trop story, then read Sigmar. But actually, if you don't too, it's okay. This book is definitely still a very good read, so I do not regret buying this, and I hope you buy it too. You know, support good stories, support good authors, and hopefully they write more of these kind of stories. Thank you very much,